Pain enters everyone's life without permission. Negative thoughts follow soon after, trying to explain that pain in the worst possible way. I used to believe that pain meant something was wrong with me. Now I understand it means something is being built inside me. When pain shows up, I don't rush to escape it. I slow down and face it. Pain loses power when it is acknowledged instead of avoided. I remind myself that this moment is not permanent. What feels heavy today will not feel the same tomorrow if I keep moving forward. Negative thoughts are louder when I am tired, distracted, or undisciplined. Instead of fighting every thought, I choose which ones deserve my attention. I've learned that many thoughts are reactions, not truth. They pass if you don't give them a home. Action is my anchor. When my mind starts to spiral, I move my body, focus on a task, or return to structure. Progress, even small progress, brings clarity. Waiting to feel motivated only keeps pain in control. I also separate my identity from my emotions. Feeling weak does not mean I am weak. Feeling lost does not mean I am defeated. Emotions are temporary visitors. They are not who I am. Pain has taught me patience, humility, and strength. What once felt like a burden became training. I don't ask why pain came anymore. I ask what it's here to teach me. Pain is often misunderstood. Most people treat pain as proof that something is wrong with them, that they have failed, or that life is being unfair. But pain is not a punishment handed out to break you. It is a signal meant to wake you up. It shows you where attention is required, where growth is missing, and where change is necessary. Pain appears when you've outgrown a situation, a mindset, or a version of yourself. It shows up to highlight what can no longer be ignored. Emotional pain may point to unresolved wounds, unmet boundaries, or choices that no longer align with who you are becoming. Mental pain often signals overload, lack of direction, or internal conflict. Physical pain reminds you of limits that need respect, or discipline that needs consistency. When you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" everything shifts. Pain becomes information instead of an enemy. It directs you toward correction, not destruction. It exposes weakness not to shame you, but to strengthen you. Ignoring pain doesn't make it disappear, it makes it louder. Suppressing it only delays the lesson. But when you listen, when you sit with discomfort instead of running from it, you gain awareness. Awareness leads to control. Control leads to growth. Pain sharpens perception. It forces honesty. It removes illusions. In moments of pain, excuses fade and truth becomes clear. You begin to see what matters, what doesn't, and what must change. Pain is not there to stop you. It is there to guide you toward a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Pain grows strongest when it is avoided. The more you run from it, distract yourself from it, or pretend it isn't there, the heavier it becomes. Avoidance gives pain space to expand in the dark. Facing it, on the other hand, brings it into the light, and in the light, pain begins to shrink. When you choose to face pain, you take back control. You stop letting fear decide your actions. Facing pain doesn't mean forcing yourself to feel miserable or reliving every hurt repeatedly. It means acknowledging what exists without resistance. It means saying, "This hurts, but I am here, and I am capable of handling it." Pain feeds on denial. When you deny it, your mind creates stories, worst-case scenarios, false conclusions, and self-blame. These stories amplify suffering far beyond the original pain. But when you face pain honestly, those stories lose credibility. Reality becomes clearer, and clarity weakens fear. Facing pain also builds emotional strength. Each time you sit with discomfort instead of escaping it, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than the sensation. This builds trust in your ability to endure. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable through repeated exposure and awareness. There is also freedom in acceptance. Acceptance is not surrender, it is clarity. It removes the extra layer of struggle created by resistance. When you stop fighting the fact that pain exists, you free energy to deal with it constructively. Facing pain allows you to respond instead of react, to choose growth instead of avoidance, and to remain grounded even when emotions are intense. Pain loses power when it is no longer feared, and fear disappears when you stand still long enough to realize that pain cannot destroy you unless you let it control your choices. The mind speaks constantly, but it does not always speak the truth. Negative thoughts often feel convincing because they arrive with emotion attached, fear, shame, doubt, or anger. But intensity does not equal accuracy. A thought can feel real and still be false. Most negative thoughts are automatic reactions, not deliberate conclusions. They are shaped by past experiences, stress, fatigue, and unresolved pain. When pressure increases, the mind looks for shortcuts, and those shortcuts often lead to distorted thinking. One mistake becomes, "I always fail." One setback becomes, "Nothing will ever change." These are not truths. They are exaggerations born from emotion. Believing every thought gives the mind unchecked authority. It allows fear to dress itself up as logic and self-doubt to masquerade as realism. But thoughts are not commands. They are suggestions, and suggestions can be questioned. Learning to pause creates space between you and your thoughts. In that space, you gain choice. Instead of immediately reacting, you observe. You ask whether the thought is helpful, accurate, or simply familiar. Many thoughts lose their grip the moment they are examined. The mind is designed to protect, not to inspire. It often assumes the worst to keep you safe from disappointment or risk, but protection can become limitation if left unchallenged. When you recognize that the mind can be wrong, you reclaim authority over your direction. Strength grows when you stop identifying with every passing thought. You are the observer, not the noise. Thoughts come and go, but they only shape your reality when you treat them as facts rather than fleeting mental events. Your attention is one of the most powerful resources you have, and whatever you give it to begins to grow. Negative thoughts do not survive on their own. They survive on attention. The more you focus on them, analyze them, or replay them, the stronger they become. Attention turns a small concern into a heavy burden. The mind naturally drifts toward problems, especially under stress. It scans for threats, regrets, and imagined failures. If you allow this drift without awareness, your attention becomes scattered and reactive. You start living inside your thoughts instead of directing them. Choosing attention carefully means deciding again and again what deserves your mental energy. It does not mean forcing positivity or pretending problems don't exist. It means refusing to obsess over what you cannot control and redirecting focus toward what you can influence right now. When attention is placed on action, learning, or structure, negative thoughts lose momentum. They are not fought or argued with. They are simply deprived of fuel. Just like a fire fades without oxygen, negativity weakens when it is not constantly fed. Attention also shapes emotional intensity. The more you replay a painful memory or fearful thought, the more emotionally real it becomes. Redirecting attention doesn't erase pain, but it reduces its emotional weight. Over time, this practice retrains the mind to follow intention instead of impulse. When the mind is overwhelmed, it looks for escape through overthinking. Thoughts begin to loop, emotions intensify, and clarity disappears. In these moments, waiting to feel better rarely works. The mind does not stabilize itself through analysis alone. It stabilizes through action. Action grounds you in the present moment. It pulls attention away from imagined futures and unresolved pasts and places it into something real and tangible. Even small actions, standing up, organizing your space, starting a simple task, can interrupt mental chaos and restore a sense of control. Overthinking thrives in stillness without direction. Action introduces structure. Structure reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty is what fuels anxiety and negative thoughts. When you act, you create evidence of progress, and progress brings clarity. You don't need motivation first. Movement creates momentum. Action also rebuilds trust in yourself. Each completed task, no matter how small, sends a message to the mind that you are capable. This confidence is not emotional, it is earned. It quiets doubt because doubt has less space when results begin to appear. The mind often resists action when emotions are heavy, convincing you to wait until conditions improve. But action changes conditions. It shifts internal chemistry, improves focus, and restores a sense of agency. Through action, the mind stops spiraling and starts aligning with purpose. Mental stability is not achieved by thinking your way out of darkness. It is built by moving through it, step by step, until the noise fades and direction returns. Emotions feel personal, but they are temporary experiences, not definitions of who you are. When emotions are intense, the mind tries to turn them into labels. Feeling weak becomes "I am weak." Feeling lost becomes "I am a failure." This confusion between emotion and identity is what gives negative thoughts their strongest grip. Emotions rise and fall based on many factors: sleep, stress, environment, memories, and expectations. They can change within minutes, yet when they are heavy, they feel permanent.